Uh-oh. Everybody okay? Okay. All right, the record should reflect that the jury is back in the courtroom. Mr. Brockler, do you want to publish the rest of People's Exhibit P-TR-1006?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, before the prosecution does that, members of the jury, I want to remind you that the defendant's statements on this video recording have been admitted only for a limited purpose. You may consider the defendant's statements on this video recording only as to the issues raised by his plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. You shall not consider them for any other purpose. Dr. Reed's statements on this video recording may only be considered for the limited purpose of allowing you to evaluate the reliability of his examination and to provide context to the statements made in the video recording by the defendant. You shall not consider any statements made by Dr. Reed on this video recording for the truth of their content or for any other purpose. All right, with those instructions in mind, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The shooting were supposed to increase my self-worth. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I think it was in a text message I sent to Gargi about human capital, how you can kind of place a value on a life, and if you take lives away, that kind of adds to your own value.
I do remember the text message exchange. Is that an accurate rendition of the way you were feeling at that time? Or
Yeah.
is there anything more to that you can explain to me?
I don't think there's anything else to it.
That's a pretty concisely encapsulated theory, if you will. There's got to be more to it than that.
And why is there got to be more to it?
In what way did you think of taking other people's lives as enhancing yours? Tell me about the logic of that.
Just that anything they would have done or like pursued gets canceled out and given to me.
Starting today, looking back, does that still make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So the premise that you're describing 2 years ago, you would still
Agree with it.
agree with that premise today?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me more about the premise, would you?
There's nothing else to say about it.
Sounds like there's a lot to say about it. It sounds like there could be books written about it.
It would probably be a boring book then.
Does it appear in any of your readings, or how did you come upon that premise?
I just made it up.
I don't see a rational side to that. I might be able to see an irrational side to that, but I don't see any data, if you will, or information that would lead to the veracity of that premise. I'm not saying you didn't believe that premise. I don't know, because I'm not inside you.
Right.
I certainly wasn't inside you 2 years ago.
Okay.
What makes that a logical premise? Or is it an irrational premise?
It's not based on logic. It just is the way it is.
Did it appear in anything that you ever read or saw, movies and things like that? Or do you think the idea might have come from, or not?
Well, I think it came from economics, because you can take countries measuring their GDP of a given population and kind of say this is a value which we place on our nation's output. And you can do the same to individual people and say this person has a value and does this output or would do this output, but then it goes to me afterwards, after killing him.
Let's use your country analogy for a minute and see how long the analogy holds up, okay?
Okay.
A country has goods and services and output and value and potential value for the future. How might you, person or another country, acquire the value that you see in the first country?
You conquer the country through like war, and then you receive its economic benefits.
Okay. Are there any circumstances under which, when you conquer it, you wouldn't receive all those economic benefits?
If they apply like a slash and burn strategy, where they kind of burn the land.
Sure, and that's exactly what I was thinking. If you obliterate the country,
Right.
then its value plummets.
Yeah,
That's my thinking. Is that your thinking as well, or not?
its value goes down, but the conquering country would have increased their military effectiveness because they've kind of won a battle.
They've won a battle and they get to put a mark on the big scoreboard in the sky, I guess, in the win column, so to speak. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, kind of.
Because I don't see much other advantage to conquering the country.
They get to reap the rewards of the land.
So even after the slash and burn, the land is still there.
Yeah,
They've expanded their borders, if you will.
right.
But in the situation of killing the individual, it seems to me that that's akin to obliterating the country. Not just slash and burn, but obliterating the country and its borders, and there's nothing left to bring to the conquering country. Does that make sense, or does that not make sense as an analogy? Does the analogy break down, or no?
No, because essentially you win the war by killing them. So you're no longer in a state of war.
Some of the other folks that you've talked with have referred to some writings that you did, some references to Nietzsche, things like that, right?
I simply said I've heard of Nietzsche to my psychiatrist, Fenton.
Okay. What does Nietzsche and his writings have to do with all this, if anything?
He believed he was God, I think, and then he went crazy. And that's like the main points that I took away from Nietzsche.
Okay. And once again, I'm talking with you in the here and now, and I'm trying to refer to how you felt and how you were 2 years ago. We both understand that, right?
Yeah, those were the feelings 2 years ago.
Nietzsche thought he was God, then he went crazy. How does that relate to you and what you were thinking or planning or feeling?
I never related it to that.
Okay.
This is something they connected the dots with.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that they may have connected some dots, but the connection's not really there. Is that?
I never made a connection.
Okay. Looking back intellectually at it, do you think there was a connection there that you just didn't realize?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Highlander comes up in some of the interviews or writings or something.
Yeah, another made-up connection. I said, like, there can be only one in a text message, and then they got interested in Highlander from that.
If you recall, is that kind of what you were referring to in the text message? The famous quote from Holmes?
I don't remember any of the surrounding information.
Do you remember the text message itself?
No.
Can you picture that?
No.
So, as we're sitting here, we don't know. Let's assume there was such a text message. There was. But as we're sitting here, we don't know what you were thinking when you wrote the text message. Is that accurate or not?
That's correct.
Have you seen Highlander?
Yes.
Okay. Series, the movie? Both?
Movie.
What do you think of it?
That's an interesting concept.
Do you think that concept is akin to your concept?
No, because the main thing in Highlander was they're trying to become mortals, and they have to kill other immortals, behead them, and then the very last one, it becomes immortal, a mortal.
I didn't remember that. Is that right? I didn't remember that the last one became mortal.
Yeah, I believe that's how it went.
Interesting. I didn't remember that. Okay. And they were specifically killing each other rather than random civilians, if you will.
Yeah, they were beheading each other with swords.
Yeah. You've implied that you came up with the idea, with the concept, independently, as far as you can remember, independently of any readings or anybody else's writings that might have come up with a similar concept at some other time. Does that make sense?
Are you talking about the Highlander concept?
The Highlander or Nietzsche or anybody else? What I think you've said, and again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, is that wherever the concept of assimilating others' powers or value, looking back on it, you believe that came solely from within you and not from any suggestions outside you.
Well, there's always going to be suggestions outside of you that influence you. So I wouldn't say it was a fair statement to say it was solely me, because I interact with my environment.
Okay. Fair enough. Apparently you didn't know or want to know any of the people in the theater.
No, I kept it very impersonal.
As you were carrying out the shootings, you were wearing a gas mask the whole time?
Yes.
Okay. How well could you see out of the mask?
Not well, because there were lights behind the theater, which were actually brighter than in the theater. So I had to go from a brightly lit area to a darkly lit area. And have the gas mask with scratches in it. I was trying to remove the scratches, but they weren't coming out.
Was it a used mask?
No, it was a new mask, but there were still scratches on the visor.
That you tried to remove to be able to see better?
Yeah.
Was the movie still playing when you were shooting?
Yes. I wasn't watching it though.
I understand.
Okay.
Did that throw light on the audience that you were shooting at?
No. It threw light at the very front where there were no people sitting.
I want to get more to the theater, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. Okay. I guess I want to stick for just a minute on philosophy stuff. Is there anybody that you can think of that came to a similar conclusion? You may have been independent of it or not. Other people, for example, who have killed lots of people or injured lots of people. Anybody that you particularly recall thinking about?
No.
Ted Kaczynski comes to mind.
The Unabomber. What about him?
What did you know about Kaczynski at the time?
I said I'd heard of him to Fenton. And I guess he was anti-corporations or something, anti-technology maybe. I don't remember.
Was he at all relevant to what your mission was and what you were thinking of?
The only relevance is he had like a purpose in mind and carried it out in a similar way.
Did you say in that 4-month period, April, May, June, July, do you recall reading about or learning anything or seeking anything about Kaczynski?
Those would be in the computer records. I don't remember offhand.
One way or another, you don't remember one way or the other?
No.
Another guy that I'm a little bit reminded of is the fellow Cho. Long first name that I don't remember. Sung-Hui Cho at Virginia Tech.
I've heard about him. He went up into the bell tower, I think it was.
I'm sorry?
I think he went up into the bell tower, I believe, and was shooting from there. Is that
was the
thing?
one at University of Texas.
Oh, that's a different one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, then I don't know.
Do you remember looking up any of these folks, or learning about, or thinking about, comparing yourself to any of the other people that have killed a lot of people?
I looked at what they did and how they did it, but I didn't compare it to how I was going to do it or anything.
You looked at what they did and how they did it. Any suggestions in there or things to avoid?
You don't shoot the police, otherwise they kill you, so...
Okay. And you didn't shoot the police?
Right.
Okay. Anything else about how they did it that may have informed you about better ways to go about this?
No, I didn't seek out any improvements in their methods or anything.
Did you see similarities? And you may have already kind of answered this, and I don't mean to make this an interrogation, but now we're in a more specific timeline of things. Any similarities between you and any of those people? Kaczynski, Cho, anybody else?
All had mental problems.
Okay. Is that speaking today, or speaking, would you have said the same thing 2 years ago?
That's speaking today.
What would you have said 2 years ago? Or 2 years and a month ago, in June?
We all had violent delusions.
Was there anything attractive about them or repulsive about them?
No, they're just people.
Anything attractive or repulsive about the end result of what they did?
No, not that I can think of.
Or about what happened to them after?
No, pretty much what's expected happened.
And what is that? What's expected to happen?
They got either locked up or they died.
The selfies of you with the Glock and the AR remind me a little bit of a picture that Joe took of himself.
I never saw any pictures of Joe.
Never did. Let me show you the picture. Remember that at all?
No.
Okay. Most selfies are pretty common.
Yeah, everybody
Everybody
takes them.
Try to go a little bit, if I may, through a chronology. I think we've covered a lot of it already. We talked about the trip in December of 2011 to Arizona, at Christmas with your uncle.
Yep.
I have down that you went to Woodside to see some friends from Riverside. Is that not true, or a different trip, or same trip?
Woodside, I don't know what that is.
Woodside, California?
Yeah, I don't know where that is.
Did you take any other trips from grad school around then back to California? Or just the one around Christmas to go to?
I think it was just the Christmas one.
Do you remember seeing friends from Riverside on any of those trips?
Yeah, I think we were going to go to a Mongolian barbecue, but we went to BJ's Pub and Brewery.
Families, or you and your friends? Or?
Just friends.
Okay. Tell me about that.
We drove up to LA, carpooled, and just had dinner together.
So you're getting together with people that you knew you hadn't seen for a while. What was that like?
Kind of like a reunion.
Tell me more. What you guys talk about? What you do?
I don't know, we didn't talk about just normal stuff, I guess. Nothing stands out.
How long did you spend together? Hours, days?
The day.
And how did you hook up with them? How did you meet up with them?
Text messaging.
You let them know that you were coming back and ask if they wanted to get together, or what?
I think they asked if we wanted to go or not, and I said yeah.
How did they know you were going to be in Riverside? Or
I wasn't
not
in
Riverside. How did you know? How did they know you were
Diego.
going to be back in California?
I don't know if they texted me previously or if it was just overlap with vacation.
Remember any of the names?
Yeah. Earl, Tashi, Richie, Soren, Yent.
What did you guys do at Riverside beforehand? What was the friendship like before?
I've been friends with all of them in Riverside before, for all 4 years.
And as friends with them in Riverside, can you tell me a little about what the friendships were like and what you guys would do?
We would go out to dinner, or we would go to apartments and play Super Smash Brothers, Super Mario Kart, that kind of thing.
Over 4 years, that's it?
We also watched Lost together every episode.
Okay. Did they know that you were in Colorado, or did you let them know you were in Colorado? How'd they know where you were to text you? Or you may have,
It doesn't matter where you are.
you may have had the same phone number, sure.
Yeah, I had the same phone number.
I'm with you. I'm just too old for that concept to get into my brain.
Okay.
But to actually meet up, they need to know that you're going to be in California. And I'm kind of wondering.
I think I told them, but I don't remember exactly.
Okay. So you went out and you, what'd you do again? You hit a bar or
No, just a restaurant.
restaurant? told Dr. Gurr, you remember Dr. Gurr?
Yes.
Okay. You said to Dr. Gurr, among many other things, that you remembered looking into a mirror and seeing something. Do you remember that interchange? You remember that picture in your mind?
No, is there something unusual about the mirror?
Well, I'm kind of asking you that, I guess. Anything to do with the mission or with what you were contemplating?
No, I don't know what the mirror event is.
Okay. You've said several times that the mission and the concept came from within you and not from outside you. You've never used a phrase like an outside power or a master power or a God talking to you or anything like that.
No, there wasn't command voices.
Okay. No command voices.
No.
How about just a feeling that there was some master of you that was moving you in a particular direction to do certain things?
No, I'd say I was my own authority.
Tell me about the shooting range.
It was 2 hours away. It's an unsupervised range, but the owners, or I guess the caretakers, dropped by like every day anyway.
How many times did you go? I'm assuming it was up because everything in Colorado is uphill.
It was off the 40, I think. It was maybe 5 times I went.
And what did you do up there?
While shooting.
There are lots of ways to shoot.
Right.
How did you do it?
Well, they have different kind of range areas. So one was for rifles, others handgun, and one shotgun. So I would just go and practice in each designated area.
Were other people up there when you went? Would it be likely that there would be other people shooting as well?
Sometimes there were other people, yeah.
Cost anything?
Nope, it's free.
Free. Except the cost of your ammunition, I suppose.
Yeah, ammunition and gas to get up there.
So how long would you stay when you went up?
Until the ammunition run out of my magazines.
Do you recall when the last time you went was? The last time before the July 20th?
No, I don't recall like what I did each specific time.
I mean, the timing. Was the last time just before July 20th or 2 weeks before or a month before?
There's probably a record of that somewhere because of the cell phone.
What do you say?
A week maybe before.
Did you get to be a better shot from the beginning?
No, I stayed a terrible shot.
Stayed a terrible shot.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of those times up there was when you saw the FBI SUV go by.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you feel as you were shooting all that ammo?
Just that I was familiarizing myself with the weapons.
Any other feeling?
No, not really.
That sounds like going to a job.
It was kind of like work to be done, yeah.
Wasn't any pleasure involved in going up and shooting off weapons?
Not for me, at least.
Do you recall that any pictures or fantasies came to your mind as you were doing it?
No, I was more focused on the task at hand of learning how to shoot.
Which of the weapons was the hardest to develop proficiency with?
The assault rifle would be the hardest one.
How good did you get?
Well, I could hit paper, but I wasn't usually bullseye targeted or whatever.
You weren't using a bullseye target?
I wasn't really on a bullseye. I could hit the paper target usually, but miss the bullseye.
Before you bought those weapons, how much shooting had you done?
0. I'd done paintball, but that's different.
Had you ever fired a handgun or a long gun before?
No.
I recall that you went to one of the stores, Game Out or something, with Tim, and he was going to purchase a weapon. Is that right? Remember that?
Yeah, I think he bought a Beretta or something like that.
Do you remember that trip and what that was like with the group? I think you were with the group.
I wasn't too interested in firearms at the time.
Had you ever held a handgun before?
Tim let me hold his handgun.
Was that okay with you? Was that something you asked to do? Or he said, here, hold this? Or...
He was kind of showing just what the gun was.
Do you recall what it felt like to hold the gun that first time?
It made me nervous because I've never held a gun before.
Nervous?
Yeah.
Tell me about nervous holding that gun for the first time.
What's there to tell? It just made me nervous.
Nervous about anything in particular?
About the gun going off and hurting somebody there.
You ever shoot a 22 at the fair? You know, the little rifle ranges at the fair where you shoot the little ducks or something?
No, I didn't like a squirt gun where it blows up a balloon or whatever, but never a 22.
So the very first time you fired a gun, and almost the first time you ever held a gun, handgun or long gun, first time you held it was probably in your apartment, right? Or
Yeah,
at the store where you
taking
bought
it back from the store.
Okay. The first time you fired it was up at Byers, or did you go to a different range, a closer range the first time?
No, I only went to Byers.
Now the big question, how did you feel the first time you shot the weapons?
I didn't feel anything special. I just thought it was harder than it looked.
In what way?
And I thought you just point and pull the trigger, but it's kind of hard to aim and then multitask. And be aware of your surroundings while you're looking down the sights and everything.
Had you read about how to shoot or how to hold a gun or what to do as you're pulling the trigger or sighting?
Yeah, I think I went to some gun forums and looked at like how to stand, how to hold the gun, prevent recoil.
Did you wear ear protection?
Yeah, I bought specialty earmuffs. They kind of have like a high frequency tone in them.
Okay. Do you remember the first time you shot and the weapon went off? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that moment.
You don't remember that moment? Okay. How about the first time you shot the shotgun?
I remember it gives me a bruise because I was shooting slugs and it really pulls back on you. But I don't remember the first time as being significant versus the other times.
Okay. I'm curious, did you shoot slugs in the theater or was it shot?
BB shot.
Did you maintain your guns after you left the range, clean them, things like that?
Yeah, I had to look up how to clean them, and then I bought the cleaning kind of toolkit.
So you get pretty proficient at that? You mentioned taking them down, stripping them.
I cleaned them once or twice, yeah.
Okay. At the range, do you recall whether or not you emptied clips? Or would you shoot for a while and stop? Or...
I'd shoot till the magazine was empty.
Okay. Would you then practice replacing the clip, replacing the magazine?
Well, yeah, to shoot again, because I had multiple magazines.
Okay, what I'm referring to is in the theater, apparently some of the magazines were overfull and jammed.
Right.
Was that a surprise to you, or had you experienced that or planned when you were shooting at the range? Did that ever happen? Did that ever happen?
Yeah, there were misfires. Like, it didn't spring all the way up.
I forgot to take your pulse earlier. May I take your pulse?
Sure.
Thank you. That's fine. Thank you. The stuff that you got, it cost a lot of money.
Yeah, I had a lot of savings, though.
I was going to ask, where did the money come from to purchase it?
Savings over the years and money from the training grant.
The savings were from your jobs and things like that?
Yeah, summer jobs and stuff.
Where was that money?
In my bank account.
Checking or savings?
I could move it all around as I wanted online.
Some of the purchases were made with credit cards,
Right.
but paying for it came from the savings and the grant money?
My credit card is connected to my bank account, so they can pay it off directly.
So it was automatically debited when it...
I think it was once a month, unless I did it manually.
At the end of all this, were the credit cards all paid off, or was there still
All my
money?
credit cards have always been paid off,
Okay.
so I'd always pay the full balance.
So nobody was stuck with the bill after all the events and shooting and stuff?
No,
Did your parents send you any extra money that eventually went into purchasing the body armor or the weapons or the ammunition?
they gave me $5,000 from the college 529 savings account, but I didn't use that money to buy anything.
As you were buying stuff, did you pay any attention to the cost, or that wasn't a factor in what you were purchasing?
Well, it was a little bit, but not too much. So I wouldn't buy like the most expensive thing.
How about the body protection, the body armor stuff? How did you choose that?
Well, I wanted to be protected in case it came to a shootout between the police and me.
And there are different levels of that, different grades.
Right, I usually got ballistic 3A, which is like protection from handguns.
And you mentioned that you wanted to be protected in case you got into a shootout.
Yep.
Did you think a shootout would occur, or was it just a precaution in terms of the planning and anticipation at that time?
It was something to be considered.
Did you put it on at the apartment? Before, I think you did. Put it on at the apartment. Try it on or something like that.
I tested it first, yeah.
In what way did you test it?
Attention in the facility, we will have patient movement from their units to AA. Patient movement from their units to AA.
How did you go about testing? What do you mean testing?
Just just wearing it with all the magazines in their places and everything. And the gun slings on and off.
Roughly how many times did you do that?
Just once for all of it.
And when in the course of the chronology did you do it?
After I'd received all the body armor.
How'd you feel putting it all on?
Hot. It gets like sweaty.
How else?
Encumbered, so you can't like move around very fast.
Anything else?
No, not really.
Did you look at yourself in the mirror, see what it looked like?
Yeah,
And what did you see in the mirror?
I saw myself in body armor.
What else would a person seeing you in the mirror or in the photograph see besides a person in body armor?
Someone dangerous.
Anything else?
Nope.
Sounds like that and the selfie with the Glock, etc. Appearing dangerous was important to you at that time.
Yeah, because you don't want 400 people rushing you. It's clear easy they could have overwhelmed me.
Okay. So part of it was if I appear dangerous, they're less likely to rush me. Is that accurate or not?
That's accurate, yeah.
You also bought some handcuffs.
Right.
Tell me about the handcuffs. How do they fit into all this?
Well, there's these double doors in the theater, and you could lock them by having the handcuffs connected to each handle. It was something I didn't wind up doing, though.
Okay. You bought some road stars.
That was in case I had to do a getaway pursuit or whatever.
And some field dressing and field first aid equipment.
That's if I got shot.
You've given a practical reason for each thing that you purchased or that you wore, that you took to the theater. Was any of it, particularly back at the apartment, was any of it more for show than anything else?
No, it was function over form.
The pictures that you took of yourself showed you a certain way, portrayed you as dangerous, as somebody not to be toyed with.
Right.
Although there's function attached to that, it also sounds like there's a certain amount of show attached to that, a certain amount of appearance.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, the photographs weren't designed to protect you at all. They were designed for other people to look at in future. Is that right or is it not right?
It was to be remembered. So obviously, you're going to be remembered by other people and not yourself.
Did you think you were going to get killed?
No, that's why I got all the body armor.
You knew that lots of police would show up.
And very quickly, too.
How did you know they would show up quickly?
Just from noticing police presence in that area that's near the police station, too.
Right across the street. What, quarter of a mile, half mile?
Yeah, pretty close.
Did the proximity to the police station have anything to do with the choice of location?
No, it would have been negative. a negative factor to consider.
So why did you still pick that place?
Because I was familiar with that place.
I'm sorry?
I was familiar with that place. I didn't recon there.
You could have reconned some other place.
Right.
But why did you choose the one that was 45 seconds away from the police station? Or something close to the police station?
Like 3 minutes away.
Okay. 3 minutes.
I just felt comfortable there. It was kind of within my range of the apartment. Of usually crimes are committed like 10 miles within a person's residence, kind of a thing.
You said two interesting things. One, projects are usually within 10 miles or something like that. Tell me what that...
They're usually close to home, is what the point is.
Okay. What's usually close to?
Where somebody commits a crime.
You say that as if that's a governing factor for committing crimes, or one governing factor for committing crimes, is to do it close to home.
Yeah, that's what I don't know the source or the data from it, though.
Why would that apply particularly to you? You could shoot people any place within a 100-mile radius without much trouble.
Right, but I had to keep it impersonal, and
100 miles away, it would be less personal.
100 miles away, it's harder to kind of scout that.
Then you said that the police station was, you corrected me, not 45 seconds, but 3 minutes. Did you time it in some way?
No, that was just my estimation.
Your estimation from before the shootings or after the shootings?
Before, I think I wrote it in the notebook somewhere.
There are different ways, I guess, to kill people. You chose shooting them yourself, as contrasted with a bomb or something like that. Makes sense?
Yeah, that was like the easiest way, I figured.
What to you at the time made that, what was the easiest way?
Well, I don't have much like technical knowledge about bombs, so I'd probably wind up blowing myself up.
By the way, did you ever think you might blow yourself up as you're setting up all this gasoline and stuff?
No, I was pretty careful.
You're not a smoker, I take it.
No.
Have a gas stove in the apartment?
Electric, I think.
Electric. Pilot light on the hot water heater?
I don't think that's in the apartment. I think it's kind of down.
How careful were you as you were compounding the gunpowder, the napalm, pouring gasoline around? How careful were you?
Careful, not enough to get hurt.
Did you do all this in one day, or did you do it over a period of days?
I set it up all in one day, but like I had made the napalm the previous day. I collected the gasoline and poured them into the soda bottles another day. So I put them all out in the family room on the night of.
As you're doing that, then, you're going to bed with all that stuff out there.
No, I'm going out to the movie theater with all that stuff out there.
But you just said that you worked with the gasoline over more than one day. Or you poured the gasoline the day before or something like that.
Right.
So,
The napalm's relatively inert.
in the process of doing this, you're spending at least one night, maybe more nights, sleeping in an apartment
with gasoline lying around.
Tinderbox is an understatement.
Yeah.
With fumes, etc., I imagine. Did you smell the gasoline?
I closed the caps on them.
Okay. Tell me about going to bed and going to sleep. The thoughts that you have as you go to sleep, as you go to bed. What
I didn't feel any different between going to sleep normally and with the stuff in the apartment.
Did you spend much time when you weren't doing the tasks? There were many, many tasks to do. When you weren't doing the tasks, did you spend much time thinking about the mission, thinking about what was going to happen or might happen?
No, because I wasn't considering the consequences.
So when you stopped to eat,
Yeah,
what did you think about while you were eating, if you remember?
just what I had to do next to like assemble the stuff.
Were you watching any TV during that period or doing any video games?
Yeah, just watching TV. I think South Park.
Did you spend much time watching TV on those 2-3 days?
Not at the end of the night of the shooting, because then I had to like put everything together.
About the video games?
I think I had stopped playing them by now.
Really?
Yeah.
Attention to the facility. AA movement has now ended. AA movement has now ended.
So roughly when did you stop playing Diablo 3?
Again, that would be in the records, the computer hardware
But
record.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, the thing is I don't know
Last day,
exactly.
you don't have to be exact.
Okay.
Was it close to the last day or weeks
No, I
before?
think it was weeks before.
And Diablo 3 is something you liked.
Yeah, I played the previous Diablos too.
Okay. It seems to me it takes a lot for you to quit cold turkey, if you will.
No, because it wasn't as good as the other games.
Sort of not my point. Something was relatively quickly more important than something you used to do 8 hours a day.
Right, because I suddenly attached no importance to Diablo 3.
And was the time completely filled with planning the shootings?
No, there was eating, going to the gym.
That's right, you went to the gym a fair amount. What did you like to do at the gym? What sort of exercise did you like to do? Workout?
Chest press, bench press, cardio, like the ellipticals and treadmill.
Did you do that pretty regularly? Most people can't do it regularly.
I tried to go twice a week, but if I couldn't, I would always make it once a week at least.
Right up to the time of the shooting?
I don't recall the end of the last time I went.
Roughly right up to the time of the shooting.
So, yeah, I don't remember.
We were talking about you're stopping the video games that used to take up 8 hours a day. And you said other things filled that time, including eating, going to the gym.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how much of that time between stopping the video games and the shooting, during how much of that time, roughly, did you still go to the gym?
No more than twice a week.
And did that roughly twice a week or once a week continue up until the time of the shooting?
That I don't remember. I'd have to check the logs.
Roughly how much of the day in the last week before the shootings were you spending in some kind of preparation?
Probably around 4 hours a day.
And the week or two before that, roughly how much time in preparation?
That might have been when I was going to the gun range, so a day's worth.
And at this point, you didn't have classes anymore?
No, I had dropped out.
Tell me a little more about the reasons that you dropped out.
Well, I didn't pass my preliminary exams. And I had a lab I could have joined, but the kind of topics were less neuroscience and more genetics.
Had you wanted to, could you have retaken the prelims?
Yeah.
Tell me about the decision not to retake the prelims.
I just made the decision not to take them, and then told my advisor that I was going to leave.
At that time, pretty much that day, at that time, what did you think was going to happen in your future? What was your future looking like?
It was looking busy, I guess. I was busy with putting things together.
Busy with putting preparations for the shooting? You're talking about or putting other things together?
Of ordering stuff for the shootings.
What else did you picture as being in your future at that time, at the time that you quit?
The end of my science career.
And what was going to be there instead of your science career?
I didn't think about it.
Not at all, as far as you remember.
Yep.
Do you recall thinking that you didn't have a career, a future at all, or do you not remember thinking that? An absence of a future?
No, I still had a future. I just didn't think about what I would do in the future.
Okay. Months before.
Okay.
Tell me about your thoughts about the future then. What was the thought about the future months before that?
Leave it up to kind of fate to decide.
And what might fate decide for you? What would be the possibilities and probabilities?
That I would either continue graduate neuroscience program or quit.
That's a pretty dichotomous set of possibilities. Any other possibility? Anything, if I quit, then that opens up the following possibilities. If I stay, it opens up other possibilities.
If I quit, then I could move back to California and live with my uncle. Because it was like a 2-story house, and he only needed 1 floor.
Just the uncle that was sick, or?
This is the other uncle.
Okay.
Uncle Jimmy.
So that was one of the possibilities, going back to California.
All right.
Okay. Any other possibilities?
Staying in Colorado and looking for another job. I instead of looking for a job, though, I looked for welfare, and I was ineligible.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand you. You were knowledgeable about welfare?
Ineligible.
Ineligible.
Yeah.
Okay. So had you gone back to California, Uncle Jimmy, what might you have ended up doing 5 years hence?
Maybe looking for a lab research position, maybe a lab tech or a lab research associate.
Okay. Had you stayed in Colorado, what might have happened 5 years ago?
The same thing.
Any thoughts of being married or having family 5 years since?
If I had a steady job, then maybe raise a family.
And you mentioned that you wanted to prepare for a family by having a job. And so I think you mentioned that this morning.
Yeah.
Okay. What else did you see in your future before the mission came up? What else did you see in your future as you pictured yourself years later?
Just going on to a postdoc position, learning more techniques and stuff, and then starting the career.
Was there any particular thought or fantasy about what kind of neuroscience career that might have been, or what sub-area you might have been in?
Whatever was available.
No burning desire in the direction of limbic systems or something else?
No, not really.
As we come into, say, the spring of 2012, when does that future picture start to change? How does it start to change?
It's just not there anymore.
Anything take its place?
No, it's kind of up in the air.
Anything vague taking its place?
No, because I wasn't looking ahead towards the consequences.
I'm sorry?
I wasn't looking ahead towards the consequences.
Can you estimate what the earliest point was at which you began to think about these killings?
When I bought the shotgun, I think.
The shotgun. So that was the second gun that you purchased, am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you remember roughly when the earliest point was that you ever thought about killing anyone?
Teens, in the teens.
Tell me about those thoughts, if you would.
They would just pop up.
Tell me about the thoughts, if you would.
They were destructive thoughts towards others.
You need to paint me the picture. You need to tell me the video.
It was kind of that in an abstract way. It wasn't actually visualizing killing or anything. It was just kind of like a voice saying, like, kill people.
And then a voice that you could hear inside or outside your head or something else?
Like your own voice, your own mind's voice.
Different people mean different things when they say voice. Sometimes they're referring to a strong thought. Other times they're saying, yeah, it was a voice and I turned my head and there was...
No, it was internal voice.
Sorry to push it so hard. Was it an internal voice that you heard as if it were coming through your ears? Or an internal thought that you realized was a thought, not an auditory phenomenon?
It was kind of the thought that is a voice in your head.
Okay. Even though you mentioned it was abstract, you did say that it would pop into your head and that there were thoughts of killing people. At least that's what I asked about. Can you be any more specific about what would pop into your head?
just a desire to kill people.
How, who, under what circumstance?
Just like an impersonal form of a person.
No particular person that you picture?
Oh, no one in particular.
Was it a response to somebody doing something to you or making you feel badly? Or
It might have been a response to stress.
can you be more specific?
I don't know which stressors exactly triggered it.
If I think of having stress, or people having stress, or different kinds of stress, the end result of that doesn't appear to me to be killing something. Can you make the connection for me? That stress
Then,
leads to thoughts of killing a person?
yeah, that's it.
Can you make that connection for me?
That is the connection. The stressor just leads to the thoughts of killing people.
No, it's not the connection. It's 2 points. Stress is 1 point, killing somebody is the next. What's in between the 2 points?
Well, stress is the trigger.
Is it that you don't understand connecting 2 points? Or you don't know what's between the 2 points?
I'm saying the stress connects to the killing.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, okay.
If I say hunger connects to eating a plate of food, there are things between hunger and eating the food. Going to the grocery store, choosing the groceries, going back home, turning on the stove.
Not if the food's already
preparing food,
prepared.
all this. So,
If
what's
you're in
between-
hunger and then you eat a snack.
You've still got to go get it, choose it, and open it. So
Not if it's already opened and chosen.
we're getting into a word game that's not really my
Okay.
purpose. I really want to understand that for you, there's a point of stress, at least as you describe it in high school many years ago. Stress and thoughts of killing someone. And there are things in between those, and you may not be aware of what they are, but there is something in between.
Okay, well, I don't know what they are then.
Otherwise, it seems to me sort of like the old joke of lots and lots of formulae and experimentation, and then a miracle happens, and
Okay.
something, you remember that joke?
No.
Okay. If you're doing a proof, or you're doing a paper about how you get to results of your experiment,
Yeah, you have data.
it's not fair to say, the data's here, and a miracle happens, and there's my result. You need to understand, or try to understand, what's between the data and the result, the causation, if you will.
I'm saying stress is the causation. So you're kind of removed from, you're already one step closer.
What is it about you then that makes stress, per se, lead to thoughts of killing people that's not present in almost anyone else?
that's just my coping mechanism.
It sounds like psychobabble to me. I'm sorry. It just does.
Okay.
What do you mean your coping mechanism?
That's how I deal with it.
Coming into the pictures of what comes up in your mind quickly comes to your mind.
What was that?
I know there's noise back behind you. Let's come back to the image that comes to your mind about killing someone. Once again, is there any clearer picture of that you can see? Can you fiddle with the focus knob?
Well, there's kind of two pictures. One
Okay.
is with when I'm with someone, I have a picture of killing them, and then the other is an abstract. I get this image of just a formless person who I can't really make out, and I'm killing them.
Okay. Let's go to the one that you mentioned when you're with someone. But it might be a circumstance in which you would think about killing the person that you were with at that time.
Well, if they're being very annoying,
Can you draw me a hypothetical situation?
I don't know, if they're just bothering me, then the thought will appear.
How might they be bothering you in this hypothetical situation for the thought to appear?
I guess laughing at me or something.
You mentioned yesterday or the day before about people perhaps not laughing at you, but talking derisively about you.
Right.
Is that a situation? Is that an analogous situation or not?
Yeah.
Makes you mad?
No, not really.
How is that different from an angry response then?
Well, I'm not doing anything to them, and I'm not showing any anger.
We're talking about, in your mind, picturing yourself killing them.
Yeah.
I understand that you're not really killing them.
Right.
Can you make the leap to, if you visualize in your mind that you're killing somebody that laughed at you, that it's logical to think that they ticked you off? That you were angry with them?
I was using annoyed, but
Yes, you were.
I'm not sure. I don't have like outbursts or anger outbursts or anything.
I'm talking about insight. I'm talking about what comes to mind. And that's what I think you just described.
Okay.
Something that often comes before anger is hurt. Did you feel hurt when people would talk derisively about you?
Yeah.
Whether hypothetically or not?
Yeah.
Is that one of the situations where the fantasy might appear or no? Fantasy of killing the person.
Yeah.
And what happens in the fantasy? What happens when you kill the person?
And they're not bothering me anymore.
Okay. So the bother goes away.
Right.
The annoyance goes away. Or the thing that's hurting you goes away.
All right.
Seen from the other person's viewpoint, the person who's annoying or hurting you, did they feel that they've been punished or eliminated?
No, because that was all going on inside my head.
I know. But for the fantasy person inside your head, do they feel anything? Or is this something you can do without fear of having them feel something?
There's no fear to it.
And again, maybe kind of putting words in your mouth, and I don't mean to do that. Some people who are being hurt don't want to truly hurt the other person. And sometimes that's the reason they don't retaliate.
Right.
Or call them on it.
Yeah.
Because for one reason or another, they don't want to escalate the situation, or they don't want to hurt the other person. One can do that in his mind without hurting the other person. Does that thought resonate with what you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't intentionally want to hurt them. I just have the thought of hurting them.
Okay. Another sort of belief. What does that thought accomplish for you? I'm assuming you're
Kind of resolution.
okay. Is there any relationship between that fantasy situation in which you've already said you don't want to actually do damage to the other person? Is there any relationship of that situation with the situation in which you did grave damage to people at the theater?
Well, then I was actually doing it. It wasn't a thought anymore.
I understand. Do you see any connection or relationship or analogy of the real with the thoughts of many years ago?
No, because they hadn't annoyed me in any way. They were kind of the formless kind of person or whatever.
I'm thinking, and please tell me if my thinking is correct or not correct, that there are two kind of categories. One in which someone is doing something to you or in some way making you uncomfortable or annoying you, making you feel badly, and you deal with that in fantasy. Another is a situation, such as the shootings, in which the people are not doing anything to you, but you wish to take something from them and assimilate it into yourself, their value.
Yeah. They're two separate things.
Tell me what's right or wrong with that interpretation of things. Is it 100% right, 50% right, 10% right? And correct the things that aren't right, can you?
It sounds right to me.
All right, I'm going to turn the lights back on. The record should reflect that people have stopped playing P-TR-1006. Members of the jury, it's about 12, so we're going to go ahead and take our lunch break at this time. Please make sure you follow all my advisements during the lunch break, and I'll see you back here at 1:30, okay? The court will be in recess. Please be seated, everyone. The record should reflect that the jury has exited the courtroom now. Do we need to talk about anything at this time on behalf of the people? Anything on behalf of the defense?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brockler, when are you anticipating that you'll be able to finish playing the videotaped interview?
On this,
The whole thing?
the entire thing, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, okay, thank you. We'll be on break. I'll see you after the lunch. The court will be in recess.
Please rise.